Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Hello students, hello English learners, how are you today? Hopefully all things are good. Welcome to the English learning video with me, Miss Christianingsih. Okay, students, English learners, are you ready? Okay, let's talk about conditional sentence. In the English learning video with me, Miss Christianingsih. The goal of this learning video, the first goal, students or English learners are able to understand social functions, text structure, and linguistic elements to us instead about conditional sentences. Second goal, student can make conditional sentences. Now let's see what conditional sentences are. Conditional sentences are sentences which describe a conditional situation. Conditional sentences consist of a main clause and if clause. The main clause is a result, and if clause is a condition. Conditional sentences aim to express cause and effect, which contains condition regarding the possibility of something happening, a supposition, imagination, or an event that has not yet happened. Now let's see the example. If you heat water, it boils. Water boils if you heat it. These two sentences are the same. The difference is the way you write the sentence. Here, you put if in front. If you put if clause in front, so you have to put comma before the main clause. But if you put main clause in front, and then after that if clause, you do not need to put comma. Water boils belong to main clause, and if you heat it belongs to if clause. Okay, let's go to the types of conditional sentences. There are 4 types of conditional sentences in English. Zero conditional sentence, first conditional sentence, second conditional sentence, and third conditional sentence. Now, let's talk. The first one is zero conditional sentence. Zero conditional sentence describe facts or situations that are always true or things that are certain to happen. It also a scientific facts or general truth, which is a habitual activity or habit. Now let's see the structure of zero conditional sentences. If clause, the if plus simple present tense, and then simple present tense. Or if you put main clause in front, the structure will be simple present tense, if, and then simple present tense. Remember the structure of simple present tense: subject, are you, we, there, plus verb 1. If the subject he, she, it, the verb must be plus s, es, or is. That is the positive form. And then for the negative form, the subject, are you, we, there, do not or don't plus verb 1. Or if the subject he, she, it, you will not use do not, but does not or doesn't plus verb 1. And then the question form is auxiliary verb here, do, plus subject with the subject I, you, we, there, plus verb 1. Or if the subject he, she, it, we use does and then subject and then verb 1. Let's see the example. Number 1. Water boils if it reaches 100 degrees Celsius. Because water is singular subject, so the verb must be added with s. It here is singular subject, so reach here must be plus s. Do you understand? Okay, now let's go to the second example. If it rains heavily, the dams become full. In the example of number 2, you find two different verbs. If it rains, because the subject is it, so the verb must be plus s. If it rains heavily, the dams, because the dams here is plural subject, so the verb is without s. If it rains heavily, the dams become full. Okay, let's go to the example number 3. If you heat ice, it melts. Hopefully you have understood about the difference of the verb. Okay. Number 4, your teacher gets angry if you do not do your homework. Your teacher gets plus s angry if you do not do verb 1 your homework. Number 5, if human beings do not drink enough water, they become dehydrated. If human beings is plural subject, so you use do not drink enough water, they become dehydrated. Because the subject here is they, so the verb is not plus s. So student, they are the example. Are you ready for the exercise? Okay, let's go to the exercise. Exercise number 1. If we blah 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 not get enough sleep, we blah 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 get tired. Think about the answer. Have you got it? Okay, let's discuss the answer. The answer. If we not get enough sleep, we get tired. Not get becomes do not get because this is the negative form and the subject is plural subject. If we do not enough sleep and then get tired here is still because the subject belongs to plural subject. Okay, do you understand? Are you ready for the second exercise? Okay. Exercise number 2. If you mix red and yellow, you get orange. Okay, think it, the answer. Have you got the answer? Okay, ready to discuss? Good. Okay, let's check. The answer for the sentence, if you mix red and yellow, you get orange. They are the same. There is no changes. Why? Because the subject used here is plural subject. Very good. Let's go to the exercise number 3. The car be not able to run if there be no tire. Think about the answer. I'm waiting for you. Could you get it? Let's take the answer. The car be not able to run if there be no tire. The answer, be not able, be. The car be, okay, as you know, the B1 in English is am, are. Because the subjects here is singular subjects, the car, so the be used is not able to run if there, okay, because it belongs to singular subject, so the to be used here is. The car is not able to run if there is no tire. Do you get it? Are you ready for the next exercise? Okay. Next exercise. People get fat if they eat too much. People get fat if they eat too much. Okay, please think the answer. Have you got it? Okay, let's check. People get fat if they eat too much. The answer is, yeah, it is still no changes. Why? Because the subjects, both are the subjects, belongs to the plural subject. Very good. Let's go to the next exercise. If people smoke cigarettes, their health suffer. If people smoke cigarettes, their health suffer. Okay, please think about the answer. Finish answering? Very good. Let's check. If people smoke cigarettes, their health suffer. The answer is, if people smoke, yeah, the verb is still, there is no changes, because the subjects used here is plural subject. If people smoke cigarettes, their health suffers. Plus S, because the subject here is singular subject, so the verb must be added with S. Very good. Now let's move to the next type. That is type 1 conditional sentence. Let's see what type 1 conditional sentence is. Type 1 conditional sentence, or we can call it a first conditional sentence, is a form of conditional sentence used when the result of consequence is likely to occur in the future. There are realistic conditions that make sense for the possibility to occur. And then the structure of the type 1 is a little bit the same for the if clause, but different for the main clause. If simple present tense, comma, simple future tense. Or simple future tense if simple present tense. Okay, to remind you that the structure of future tense, positive form, subject will plus verb 1, the negative form, subject will not or won't plus verb 1, and the question form, will plus subject plus verb 1. Here are the examples of type 1 conditional sentences. Number 1. If it doesn't rain, we will visit grandmother. The negative form of simple present with the singular subject it is doesn't plus verb 1. Here it is written doesn't rain. We will visit. This is the simple future. Will plus verb 1. Okay, the example number 2. If you give her money, she will be very happy. Give verb 1 and then will be. Number 3. I will buy you internet voucher if you help me with the laundry. Will buy, and then in the if clause, we have to use verb 1. Example number 4. Grandfather won't have breakfast if you don't prepare it for him. Won't here is the sort of will not have or won't have. And in the if clause, you use negative form of simple present. Don't plus verb 1. The last example is question form. Will you join us to see the movie tonight if I pick you up? Will subject plus verb 1. Will plus verb 1. Will you join us to see the movie tonight if I pick you up? Pick here is verb 1. Okay, students, English learners, these are the examples of type 1 conditional sentences. Are you ready to have exercise? Yes? Okay, let's move. Exercise number 1. They fly to Indonesia if they have more money. They fly to Indonesia if they have more money. I give you the time to think. Are you done? Okay, let's check the answer. The answer, they fly to Indonesia if they have more money, is they will fly to Indonesia if they have more money. Is your answer correct? Very good. Now next exercise, number 2. If the sun to shine, we will go camping. Okay, please think about the answer. Finish? Okay, the answer, if the sun to shine, we will go camping, is if the sun shines plus s. Don't forget to Add s because the sun here is singular subject, so the verb must be added with s. If the sun shines, we will go camping. Very good. Let's go to the next exercise. If it not to rain, the children will go swimming. Okay, be careful with the negative form. If it not to rain, the children will go swimming. I give you the time to think again. Finish? Yes, let's see the answer. The answer is if it does not rain. Okay, not here means negative form. So the negative form of singular subject used here is does not plus verb 1. So the verb rain, the verb becomes does not rain. If it does not rain, the children will go swimming. Understand? Yes, very good. Are you ready for the number 4? Let's go. Number 4. If they do not hurry, they not to catch the bus. If they do not hurry, they not to catch the bus. Think again. Finish. Okay, let's check. If they do not hurry, they not to catch the bus. The answer is if they do not hurry, they will not catch the bus. Will not catch the bus. Is your answer the same with this? Okay. Last exercise. If you not to eat too much junk food, you will lose weight. If you not to eat too much junk food, you will lose weight. Okay, students, this is the last exercise. Hopefully you can answer very quickly. Finish? Okay. The answer of if you not to eat too much junk food, you will lose weight is if you do not eat. Okay, do not eat. We use negative form by giving do not here plus verb 1 because the subject here is plural subject. So the verb or negative verb used is do not plus verb 1. If you do not eat too much junk food, you will lose your weight. Well done, guys. Good job. Okay, students, English learners, we are now in the type 2 conditional sentence. Let's find what type 2 conditional sentence is. The second conditional sentence is used when the results or consequences only have manifested expectations, even though the probability is very small. It doesn't necessarily happen, but it can also become a reality. The second conditional for present or future imaginary situations, dreams, wishes, untrue, unreal events now. Okay, those are about type 2 conditional sentence. Let's see the structure of type 2 conditional sentence. If we have already talked about type 1 conditional sentence, so the structure or the formula just change into past. if, simple past tense, and then past future tense. Or if the main clause in front, past future tense plus if clause, if plus simple past tense. I remind you that the structures of simple past tense: positive form, subject plus verb to; negative form, subject did not or didn't plus verb 1, while question forms did and then subject plus verb 1. Remember, the to be to or the second to be used only were. This is the to be to which always used for all subjects. For all subjects. We do not use was, but were. For the type 2 conditional sentence. Can you understand this? Okay. And the structure of past future tense: the positive form, subject would plus verb 1, the negative form, subject plus would not or won't plus verb 1, and the question form, would, subject plus verb 1. There should be question mark here. Okay, can we go to the example? Okay, the example of type 2 conditional sentence. Number 1, if it didn't rain, okay, didn't plus verb 1. If it didn't rain, we would visit grandmother. Would plus verb 1. Second example, if you gave her money, she would be very happy. After if, subject, and then verb 1 of give become gave, and then would be very happy. If you gave her money, she would be very happy. The third example, I would buy you internet voucher if you helped me with the laundry. Would buy and helped. The fourth example, grandfather wouldn't have breakfast if you didn't prepare it for him. Wouldn't plus have or verb 1, and then didn't plus verb 1. The last example, the question form, we put would. Would you join us to see the movie tonight if I pick you up? Okay, would you join us? After would, subject, and then verb 1. Would you join us to see the movie tonight if I pick verb 1 in the if clause? Sorry, verb 2 in the if clause, the past form. If I pick you up. Okay, so these are the examples of type 2 second conditional sentence. Understand? Okay, are you ready for the exercise? Yeah, very good. Think about the exercise. Number 1. If you study harder, you would pass the exam. If you study harder, you will pass the exam. I give you the time to think. Have you got the answer? Do you get it? Okay, let's check whether your answer is the same as here. If you study harder, you will pass the exam. The answer is, if you studied. Studied here is the second form of study. So we put ed, yeah, for the past form of study. If you studied harder, you will pass the exam. Okay, now the exercise number 2 of type 2 conditional sentence. If our English were good, the teacher blah 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 choose us. If our English were good, the teacher blah 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 choose us. I give you the time to think. Do you get it? Yeah? Okay, let's check the answer. If our English were good, the teacher blah 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 choose us. The answer is, if our English were good, the teacher would choose us. Would plus verb 1 of choose. Okay, do you understand? Yes? Okay, ready for the next exercise? Yeah. Exercise number 3. I would not answer her SMS if I blah 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 you. I would not answer her SMS if I blah 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 be you. Okay, think. Done? Okay, let's check the answer. I would not answer her SMS if I be you. The answer is, I would not answer her SMS if I were you. So the second to be used for if clause here is were. Remember, were is always used for the conditional sentence type 2 for all subjects. Yeah, you still remember. Very good. Okay, let's go to the exercise number 4. My mother would be very pleased if I helped her finish the housework. My mother would be very pleased if I helped her finish the housework. Okay, think. Yeah? You have got the answer. Very good. Let's check the answer. My mother would be very pleased if I helped her finish the housework. Would be. It will be no changes. My mother would be very pleased if I help her finish the housework. Very good, student. Now let's go to the exercise number 5. If you have $1,000,000, what would you do? If you have $1,000,000, what would you do? Think about the answer. Oh yeah, the second form of have. Okay, let's check the answer. If you have a million, what would you do? If you have $1,000,000, what would you do? The answer is, if you had $1,000,000, what would you do? Okay, the second form of have is have. Very good. Good job, student. Okay, now let's see what type 3 conditional sentence is. A third conditional sentence is a conditional sentence when a condition cannot possibly be realized at all. The type 3 conditional sentence can be described as a very impossible condition or just a dream of imagination, past imaginary situations that never happens. The sentence forms uses the past perfect equipped with auxiliary modalities such as would, could, and should. Okay, now let's see the structure of type 3 conditional sentence. Because this is type 3, what we can easily remember about the structure is in the if clause, after if we use past perfect tense, usually had plus verb 3 for past perfect tense, and then we can use would, should, or could, or might plus have plus past participle of verb 3. Or if we put main clause in front, it becomes would, should, could, might, have plus past participle of verb 3, and then if clause, if plus past perfect. And then the structures of past perfect tense in the positive form, subject plus had plus verb 3. In negative form, subject plus had not plus verb 3. In the question form, had is put in front, and then after that subject and then verb 3. Okay, now let's see the example of type 3 conditional sentence. Number 1. If it hadn't rained, we would have visited grandmother. Please pay attention to the verbs underlined here. If it had rained, so we know that the if clause used is past perfect tense, and then we would have visited verb 3, we would have visited grandmother. If it hadn't rained, we would have visited grandmother. Number 2, if you had given her money, she would have been, okay, we use been here, be careful, she would have been very happy. If you had given her money, she would have been very happy. The third example, I would have bought you internet voucher if you had helped me with the laundry. Would have plus verb 3, and then in the if clause, had plus verb 3. Number 4, grandfather wouldn't have had breakfast if you hadn't prepared it for him. Okay, be careful. Grandfather wouldn't have. Yes, that's right. Probably you ask a question in your mind, why there are to have, to have here, to have. Wouldn't have is a formula or structure, and then the had here, the verb 3 of have. So it becomes wouldn't have had. Understand? Yeah? Okay. So grandfather wouldn't have had breakfast if you hadn't prepared it for him. Number 5. Would you have joined us to see the movie tonight if I had picked you up? Would is put in front, and then after that subject, and then have plus verb 3. Would you have joined us to see the movie tonight if I had picked you up? Okay, students, English learners, these are the example of type 3 conditional sentence. So are you ready for the exercise? Sure. Very good. Let's go to the exercise. Remember about the pattern, the structure, okay? Exercise of conditional sentence type 3. If you come to the concert yesterday, you would have met the famous singer. I give you the time to think. Very easy for you. Very good. Let's take the answer. If you come to the concert yesterday, you would have met the famous. And the answer become had come. Yeah, had plus verb 3 of come. If you had come to the concert yesterday, you would have met the famous singer. Okay, let's go to the exercise number 2. They would have seen the movie if their parents give permission. I give you the time to think. Are you done? Okay, let's check the answer. They would have seen the movie if their parents give permission. The answer is they would have seen the movie if their parents had given. Given is the third form of give. So the formula had plus verb 3. It becomes had given. They would have seen the movie if their parents had given them permission. Very good, you have already understood. Now let's see the exercise number 3. If you know me were coming, would you have prepared a delicious meal? Thinking? Okay, I'm reading. Finish. Yeah, very good. Let's check the answer. If you knew me were coming, would you have prepared a delicious meal? The answer is, if you had known me were coming, would you have prepared a delicious meal? Okay, ready for the next exercise. Very good. Now exercise number 4. If they had taken him to hospital earlier, he not died. Hey, think about the answer. Are you done? Okay, let's check the answer. If they had taken him to hospital earlier, he not die. The answer becomes, if they had taken him to hospital earlier, he would not have died. Is the same with your answer? Okay, good. Now let's have the last exercise of conditional sentence type 3. If I had locked the car, the thief not steal my car. Think the answer, please. Finish. Okay, let's check the answer. If I had locked the car, the thief not steal my car. The answer becomes, if I had locked the car, the thief would not have, would not have stolen my car. Would not have plus verb 3 of steal. The verb 3 of steal is stolen. So the answer becomes would not have stolen. Well done, guys. Okay, students, English learners, let's move to the negative form of if clause. That's called unless. So unless in conditional sentences is the negative form of if clause. It is used instead of if not in conditional sentences of all types. Like as in if clause, unless is followed by present tense, a past tense, or a past perfect tense. Let's see the example of unless in the conditional sentence type 0. If the students do not behave politely, the teacher reprimands them. How to make unless from the conditional if in the negative form? So, firstly, we have to omit it if and not, because unless itself is the similar with if not. So, omitted them and then put unless. Unless the student is still, unless the student, because this is negative form, so here the verb must be changed into positive, because unless means negative meaning. Unless the students behave politely, the teacher reprimands them. Okay, so this is the example of zero conditional. Now let's go to the example of type 1 conditional sentence. Mother will be annoyed if you do not arrive at home at 10 p.m. Remember, we have to omit if and not. Mother will be annoyed unless you arrive at home at 10 p.m. Okay, from the example of zero conditional and type 1 conditional sentence using unless, have you understood, students? Learners? Yes? Okay, let's move to the example of type 1 conditional sentence. I remind you that conditional sentence type 2, they use past tense. And the example of statement, if you didn't help me, I'd be unable to do it. Remember, we have to omit if and not. Unless you helped me, okay, the help here must be changed into positive past because there is did. Unless you helped me, I'd be unable to do it. Okay? Can we go to type 3? Yes? The director would not have talked to you if you had not met his secretary. Omit if and not. The director would not have talked to you unless you had met his secretary. So these are the example of the usage of unless in conditional sentences. Now let's see the exercise. Number 1, we could not go to car-free day area if the heavy rain did not stop. Okay, please think about the answer. Have you got it? Let's go. The answer, we could not go to car-free day area if the heavy rain did not stop, becomes we could not go to car-free day area unless the heavy rain stopped. Is the answer as the same as yours? Yes? Okay, let's go to the second exercise. I will never forgive you if you do not tell him the truth. Please think about the answer. Are you done? Okay, let's see the answer. The answer is, I will never forgive you if you do not tell him the truth, becomes, I will never forgive you unless you tell him the truth. Correct? Very good. Let's see the third exercise. His mother would not have forgiven him if he hadn't apologized to her. Okay, please think about the answer. His mother would not have forgiven him. Okay, think about the answer. Are you done? Okay, let's see the answer. The answer, his mother would not have forgiven him if he hadn't apologized to her, becomes, his mother would not have forgiven him unless he had apologized to her. Yes? Very good. Now number 4. I would not come if you were not there. Think the answer. I would not come if you were not there. Finish? Yeah. Let's check the answer. I would not come if you were not there. The answer becomes, I would not come unless you were there. Correct. Very good. Okay, the last exercise. They do not start eating the dinner if their mother doesn't tell them to do it. Okay, please think about the answer. Done? Finish? Yes, let's see the answer. The answer, they do not start eating the dinner if their mother doesn't tell them to do it. They do not start eating the dinner unless their mother tells, plus S, tells them to do it. Why it is plus S must be added here because the auxiliary verb used is does. So the verb move here must be also added with S. Okay, so that is the answer of number 5. Very good, students. You have already studied about conditional sentences nicely. Okay, now let's move to the inversion of conditional sentence. What is inversion in conditional sentences? Inversion in conditional sentences is used to make sentences more formal. I know that you like the formal thing, right? Okay. So if you want to use formal sentence, you can use inversion in conditional sentences. Okay, how to make inversion? To make an inversion is by omitting the if in the if clause and change it with the auxiliary should, were, or had, which are used and moved in front before the subject. Should usually used in the present tense. Were is usually used in the past tense and had is usually used in the past participle. Okay, let's see the inversion of type 1 conditional sentence using should. The sample is, if you manage the business well, you will get more money. And then the inversion becomes, omitting if, and then put should. Should you manage the business well, you will get more money. Easy, right? Now, the example of type 2 conditional sentence using were. If I were rich, I would travel around the world. Okay, what do you think of the inversion then? Yes. The inversion of if I were rich, I would travel around the world by omitting if and then put were in front. Were I rich, I would travel around the world. So if there is a form or sentence like this, you do not need to worry because it is a conditional sentence using inversion. Okay, that is type 2 conditional sentence. Next, let's go to the inversion of type 3 conditional sentences using had. The example of the sentence, if I had enough money, I would have gone to Canada. Okay, what do you think about the inversion? Yes. The inversion, if I had enough money, I would have gone to Canada, becomes had I had enough money, I would have gone to Canada. Delete if, take had and put in front. So don't worry, you do not need to be confused because there are two had here. Yeah, had I had enough money, I would have gone to Canada. So that is the inversion in conditional sentences. Well done, students. Well done, learners. Are you ready to have the exercise, mixed exercise of conditional sentences? Okay? Here they are. Number 1. If I be you, I will tell him to join the game competition. Number 2. Unless you forgive him, you'll get ill. Number 3. I would have finished the homeworks if I not be sick. Number 4. Had I studied harder at school, I would have got good marks. Number 5. Were grandmother still strong, we visit her brother in Japan. Number 6. She always gets lost if she not look at the map. Number 7. Unless you catch that plane earlier, you would have been late to the meeting. Number 8. If the manager had known about her bad behavior, he fired her soon. Number 9. Should they arrive earlier, they find me at the airport. Number 10. If the students not practice English more as a routine, their English does not improve. Well, students, these are the mixed exercise of conditional sentences. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, our English will be getting better and better. Goodbye, students. See you next video.